Okay, so in this sublesson, we're going to define slicers. We'll create two slicers. We're going to learn how to format slicers. And then we're going to introduce the concept of syncing slicers across pages. Okay, so let's go ahead and get our desktop file open for sublesson 9 and wait a moment while it opens up. Okay, so our desktop file's open here now. So let's go ahead and create our two drop-down slicers. So we're going to create one for country and one for our dates. Okay, so let's go ahead and create the country one first. So what I'm going to do here is just open the fields up a little bit here. Let's actually just zoom in on our visualizations here and show you where the slicers are. So right on the near the bottom of the visualizations palette here, I can click on slicer and just zoom ourselves back out. And we can see that I've got a blank slicer showing up here. I'm just going to actually move this roughly to this location right here because this is where we're going to be putting it. We'll fit it inside these white boxes at the very top. Okay, so the very first thing we're going to do is actually go ahead and bind our data into it. So we said we're going to make this country. So what I'm going to do is open up the sales territory table, grab country, and drop it into field here. And then we're going to see we're going to get the country here and all the countries that are in the dimension table. Okay, the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to change this to a drop-down box. So if I hover over the top of the visual without having focus, I can see there's a little tiny arrow next to this eraser here. I'm going to click that and move it from a list to a drop-down. So the box is going to look something like this now. Okay, so now at this point, I'm actually going to take this and get it to fit a little bit closer to, actually let's just go like that. Not going to quite make it fit there yet. Let's just go ahead and leave it like so we can do some further formatting. Okay, so what we're going to do here first is let's actually just show you the drop-down. So I'm going to click the drop-down. We can see that we've got all the different countries in here. And what I want to do here first is change the way this works. So I can go in here and click individual countries. We'll see that we can go ahead and make multiple selections. But let's go in and actually change some of the configurations of this drop-down. So once again, I've got it highlighted. I'm going to go over to the format under the visualizations pane. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go into selection control. So I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger here. Click the drop-down box on selection controls, and let's go through and take a look at things. So right now, single select is off. So if you notice when I went through the opening example there, I was able to click on multiple boxes by clicking the control key. I can also go down here and say, do I want to allow that multi-select with the control key, which was what we had there. And I also want to turn this show select all options. So I'm just going to turn that on. And if I go back to my drop-down box, we're going to see now that we have the select all option here. So all right, that's the way we want our, that's the way we want our format to work. So I'm just going to go back over here into the selection controls again, and everything looks perfect as we see it right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into the formatting here, and I'm going to close that card up there. And I'm going to go to my slicer header, and I'm going to turn that one off. So if I turn that off, you'll notice the header goes away there. Okay, so then the next thing I'm going to do here is actually turn the background card off as well. All right, so now it's going to be transparent. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my title card and turn it on. I'm going to go like that, go into here, and I'm actually going to call this country. So I'm going to just go country like so. Let's spell it right here. All right, there we go. Perfect. Okay, so now we've actually got things set the way we want. Okay, so let's just go ahead and get this formatted to fit inside of here. So let's go like this, and I'm just gonna go like this. So I've got country just sitting outside of the white area there. So let's just make this a touch bigger like so. Whoops. All right. There we go. So now we have it the way we want. We have country outside of here. I've got the drop-down box, and now we can go ahead and choose countries. So just a little tip here that I want to show you is we're going to create a second slicer, but I don't want to go through any of that formatting work because essentially I want the two slicers to be exactly the same, just have different values coming out of them. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go Control C. I could actually right click and say copy visual like so as well. And then just go into a blank area of the canvas and go Control V on the keyboard. Now what I'm going to do is actually just drag this one over here like that. And what I'm going to do here now is create the year drop-down box. So what I'm going to do here is go like this, go to my order date table, go over here, find my order date year. I'm going to drop it in on top of country here. That's going to create an error, but that's okay. And then what I'll do here now is get rid of country out of here. Okay, so now I've got the exact same formatted drop-down box that I had before. The only thing now is this is going to display countries. The last thing that we want to do here is we are going to go in and remove or change our title. So let's go back to our format and go down here, and let's just call this year, like so. Perfect. So now we have our two drop-down boxes through slicers. So we have country and year, and we can go through and let's just pick, actually let's start with year here. So I can go over here and choose 2020, for example, and we'll notice now all these visualizations respond to that change. In a couple of sub-lessons from now, we're going to talk about how to edit the interactions so we don't get these situations like this one down below showing up in the line chart where we now just end up with a dot. So we're going to look to isolate some of these visuals away from changes in other visualizations. So that's something we'll take care of once we get into the section on editing the interactions. Okay, so the last topic that we want to introduce here, and we're not actually going to give an example of it, is if I go to my View tab right here, I can actually go on the far right-hand side here, and there's this Show Panes group. I can click the Sync Slicers command, and this will allow us to go ahead and sync slicers across multiple pages. Now, we don't have slicers on multiple pages here, but if you're used to using sync slicers in Excel, this is effectively behaving the exact same way. But we at least wanted to expose the fact that this actually exists for you to go ahead and do if you had slicers across multiple pages that you wanted to go ahead and keep in sync. All right, so that brings us to the end of this sub-lesson.